We have a new box of old candy that just came in pretty recently. I've been trying to get through the really amazing Japanese lot, and we did that. Was it yesterday? Maybe. Anyway, I'm still reeling after that. That was just incredible. Still processing them. But anyway, this is going to be just a pretty much a run-of-the-mill vintage candy lot. So I'm going to go ahead and start opening this and I'll tell you about it. So seems to be sort of a little phenomena of lots just like this, and they've been happening since I've been in the hobby. They're usually around 30 items. That's typically the size of most people's candy collections, around 30 to 40 pieces. I'm talking about back in the 80s and 90s. And so they'll pop up, and I tell you, it's weird because they almost always go for $35. And that's what this went for, and it was an auction. But I get these, I have everything that's in this box, or pretty much anything that is ever going to come up on eBay and something like this. But I buy them because I have an eBay store, and so I flip them, basically. I piece them out. Now, sometimes I find rare little sub-variants of certain things, like maybe little color swaps. So we'll see if any of those are in there. But let's go ahead and get in there. I'm going to set you down. Okay, so the seller really did not package this very well. You know, it's okay. This was kind of a junker, kind of a lot of novelty candy. Let's see, do we want to just dump this out? Maybe compromise, do this sort of thing. Okay, so the big question is, and I did not know this, is are these sealed? Are any of them sealed? Are there some damage that we didn't see in the photos and all this kind of this number? So I am very curious about this lot. So let's go ahead and take a look. And I'll tell you about each one. Okay, the first one is a 1980s Fleer Chugga-Can. I'm not sure right off what series this is from, but there are 3 series of these. There's a bunch of these to collect, and there's a lot of collectors out there that collect these things. And this is, for a lot of people, the only thing they collect in novelty candy. The first series was all beer cans. The second series, yeah, I can tell you right now it's not a first series. The second series, I think you would have seen something like this. And definitely the third series, you would have seen a non-beer. They stopped making the beer ones after the first series. I think there was some pushback from parents because they were very popular back in the day. You might remember these, but this is all plastic. This peels up. Thankfully, this is still left intact. Now it's empty, so that answers our question. But I will tell you something about this one variant. It's in the gold metallic, plastic. And these were a chase color. They came in silver, white, red, and gold. Okay. You know what? Instead of just showing you this in one money shot, to make it a little more dramatic and, entertaining, I'll just pull them into view. How about that? So here's the first one. The next one we have is a 1981 Top Super Skates. You might remember these. Now, this one is empty. I'm having a feeling here that this is going to be the trend. When I picked up this box, it was very light, and my heart kind of sunk that I'm just dealing with a bunch of empties, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But I will tell you something. Just like the first thing, this is intact. Even though it's empty, they left the tab on. So all I have to do is fill this up with some vintage candy from this Fleer line, and it's brand new. Because, back in the day, these were not sealed. You're looking at what sealed looks like. Same with this. This was never put in cellophane. This is what sealed looks like. And my point is, look at the lanyard. It's never been touched. All this kid did, I'll show you what he did. He took this little cap off. And this is exactly how it came in the store. Nowadays, this would have been under 5 wrappers of protection. But now the problem is I don't have any of the candy wheels that came in these. These came with little, I'll tell you what they are. I've always known what they are. They're candy necklace beads that were repurposed into candy skates. But anyway, this is by Topps, 1981. They're typically pressed 81 at the bottom. I'll try to get you in there. There you go. 81. But just understand that these ran through the mid-90s as well. Not sure why there's an N on there. Guys, we can't go this slow, so let's pick up the pace. Next up is a 1987 Flipside. You might remember these. These were pretty cool. Topps was really just always front pushing their grape and cherry flavors on everything, and this is a perfect example of that. Now, notice this example is kind of, I don't know, broken or whatever, dislodged. And so, cool. I don't think I've ever shown anyone this. This is what they look like inside. It was a simple 2-compartment design. One had cherry beads and one had grape. And when you turn this thing like this, you could guide which flavor you wanted. Okay? So it was pretty cool. I'm going to snap this back in place. Should be pretty satisfying. Usually it is. There you go. Anyway, so that's, and guys, this is what sealed looks like. None of these ever came in wrappers. And so I actually do have extra Flipside candy. So I'll fill that back up and it's good as new. A great condition. So that's what I'm seeing. I'll just say for this lot, they are empty, but they're in really good shape for what these are. Next up, should be a fan favorite here. We got, I'm pretty sure that's Stryker, I think his name is, from Gremlins. The date's like mid 80s. I think 84 is the typical Gremlins copyright date. I'm pretty sure it's 84, right off the top of my head. And this would be first series. These were made in 2 series. And I don't see any in here. Well, let's look at this one. Here's one. It could be Striper or Stryker or something like that. Here we got a little damage on the label, but this is a paper label from 84, I believe. Let's see if we can get a date off this thing. You know, where the date is where it's torn. So anyway, these are screw down. And I don't recall what candy exactly came in these. Sometimes they were shaped into thematic shapes, but often they were just generic. I'm pretty sure the Gremlins were generic. But anyway, very cool. Next one coming into view should be 1992 to 1994. These were out for a while. And I could be a little early. Let's just call them mid-90s to be safe. But this is by Emerald. Unfortunately, this is 10. I always hated that about these. But anyway, this one's, as I was saying, these are in almost perfect condition, all things considered. I mean, I got a little cleanup to do, but they're going to be perfect under the dust. They're just empty. Okay. But anyway, these came with sticks of bubble gum. A bunch of them. I think it tells you on here. Yeah, 17 sticks of bubble gum. You might remember those. There's 3 variants of these. There's a green, red, and the blue one here. Next up is one of my favorites. Is payphone candy. It's not called that. It's called phony candy. It's by Fleer. This one is empty. If it was full, you would see the candy through the translucent plastic. And a lot of people don't know this, but it had conversation hearts in them. Because the concept of this candy is when you open this, because you're on the telephone, you would get your answers to your questions on the conversation hearts. And the hearts they weren't Valentine's Day ones. Okay? I can't even describe them. They just had like little simple little quips on them. Simple things. Next up is a fan favorite. This one's missing the handle, unfortunately. This is called Boombox. It's got a vintage Walgreens price sticker. This is something that gets people like me geeked out. Because, I've had a million of these. I actually had the whole box of these before. But that pink Walgreens price sticker that I know is from 1986 because these are from 1986. But anyway, I always love how they had the antenna on top. Yeah, Facsimil, but it's missing the plastic handle. Now, these never came in other variants. You're looking at the one variant. It just looks like this. Still so cool. Next one coming into view is a 1982. Now, these are stamped 82, but these ran all the way into the 90s. And the thing is, they never changed the 82 stamp. So everything so far is hitting, I mean, except for this, everything's been mid 80s pretty much, mid to late 80s. And so I doubt this is from 82 particularly. In fact, this really super yellow cone here, I don't think that's what they started with. So I can tell you that this is maybe a second or third run. But very cool. A lot of people fondly remember these. But yeah, these pop off. They don't screw off. And they had little ice cream cone pressed candies in them. This one's grimy as fuck. It's got good bones, as they say, in the housing market. Next up should be a 1991 Topps Batman. I don't love comic books, to be honest. But out of all of them, I do love, I like Batman and Superman, probably the best. Anyway, this looks really good, right? These come in 3 variants. They come in a head form. Actually, I see one off to the side. Look. Yeah, they come in head form, bust form, or torso form, and they come in full figure. But they did so good. Topps really leaned into the Batman craze of, we had the cartoon, which I actually love the cartoon, the animated one. And then we had the movies. Okay. Next up is another Fleer. I think everyone remembers these. These are just one of the staples of novelty candy. People that collect novelty candy has way too many of these mailboxes in their collection. I have entire bags and bags full of just this one. They come in around 6 colors. They had the Valentine's release, which this one's probably from. And so the Valentine's release was red, pink, white. In the original late 70s release, the rare ones, red, yellow, blue, and green. That's how rare they are. I actually forget. I do have them, but I rarely see them in anyone's collection. Next up is another. I missed this earlier. Another. Here's Gizmo, a gremlin. Great condition. Look at the label. Fuck. Yeah, but this is going to date to the mid 80s, but the copyright on all gremlins is typically 84. But just know that this was probably not from 84. Maybe 85, 86. Man, he's perfect. Just missing the candy. Next up is in classic. This turns around, thankfully. His neck extends when he's excited. Anyway, this is a 1982. I don't get a lot of these in, actually. And I'll tell you why, because they're from 82. There is sort of a dead period in the early 80s where it's much harder to get candy. You'll get floods of the late 80s stuff, but when it comes to that 81, 82, it adds there's a little wall there. But he's from that zone, that more rare zone. There's nothing much very special about this besides just the character. But yeah, his head comes out and it had pellet candy in there. It would have made more sense to have Reese's Pieces had Topps had a license or some collab with Hershey, right? Next up is a 1991 or 92 to 94 Troll Family. These are called Troll Family. A lot of people don't know that because they've never seen a display box. I hadn't either until about 5 years ago when the display box finally came up on eBay. I saw it for the first time. The best feature is definitely his cheeks. I always love how Topps added that in. Or the makers at Candy Novelty Works in Hong Kong. By the way, the hair smells like it's supposed to smell. That strawberry vinyl smell that their original Rust Trolls had. They did a really good job of... it doesn't smell exactly like a Rust Troll, but... it's pretty damn close. Definitely, it smells decent. But anyway, these come in 4 varieties, and I think, actually, now that I think about it, did they switch out the eyes and the hair? Had they done that, there might be 8 varieties. But anyway, whatever it is. So this is the orange one. Obviously, orange eyes, orange hair. Great condition. It's missing a weight sticker, and it's missing its back label. Feels good. Okay. Next up is an all-time fucking classic. Actually, I see another one. Let me grab them. This is from the original release. I can tell you right now, I'm an expert in Topps Push Pops. The expert. These are the 85s. This is first run. Beautiful first run Push Pops. They started with cherry and grape, obviously, and they later, you can find some that say 89, which is from the second run, but these are going to be the 85s. Beautiful. They are empty, and the problem with empty Push Pops is the lids are always glued on because the candy, when the kid licked this off, as cringe as it sounds, it made it where it cemented this damn thing on, because it's been sitting in this box for 40 years, right? These are 40 years old, right? Did you know that these are 40 years old? I'm talking about these 2 things. Next up is a CD. That's the company name. The makers of Smarties. Those little tarts. Not tarts. Those little things that come in the little cello things. These are lipstick candies. It had a little cylinder of that Smarties, but it was in 1 stick, and it was sold for girls as lipsticks and to boys as bullets. They did a special boy release called Silver Bullets. It's extremely rare, where this was in the color of a bullet, under the premise that you could use this to kill a werewolf. But this is the female one, which is called just lipstick candies. I know you remember those. Those were mass produced. I actually have a full display of these, but unfortunately it's nothing exciting. They're just called space shuttles, obviously. It was cool to get that box full of these, but also it was just kind of a reality of there was nothing much special to these. But yeah, it's just a little space shuttle. These date to the mid-'80s. Now, these would fall under the party favored subgenre of novelty candy. These were never sold as singles at like a gas station, for example. Now, maybe they did sell them like that, but they were not intended to be sold as singles like these per se. They're not on a retail kind of level. This was something that came in a bulk box, basically, kind of a generic bulk box. These people would slap a price sticker, but it was never like a single novelty release like a Push Pop, is what I'm trying to say. Next up, unfortunately, I missed this earlier. Okay, so E.T. came in full body torso, and he also came in bust. They never made him in a head because they couldn't figure out how to get it to stand up. So that's why they stuck with 2 variants. Whereas most other things, they actually had 3 different sizes. But anyway, enough of all that. Notice his eyes have a paint app. Really beautiful example, too. No scratches in the eyes. They're usually scratched or completely gone. I'm impressed with this lot, even though it's all empty. Next up, kind of missed this one, too. Let me actually look real quick. See, there was another Batman in here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm caught up. So here's Joker. Missing the label. Looks like it was kind of scratched off there. Little rambunctious ADHD kid did it, maybe. But yeah, great sculpt. We're looking at Jack Nicklaus. This is Nicklaus's Joker. Let me put that one down next to the other one. Yeah, great sculpt, man. Look at that. Yeah, I have a lot of people that buy these from me that are into comics. They never collect candy ever again, just to have, an example of it. But there you go. great sculpt. Clean, too. It's just, this looks dirty. Yeah, I don't remember what came in these. I want to say it was just a generic candy. It might have been, though, it might have been a pressed Batman logo, Spotlight logo, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, I'm just going to grab something else. Okay, next up is a 1992 Emerald Bubble Beeper. Unfortunately, it's open, but thankfully there's still some examples inside, some units. To open one of these, you press down slightly. It's kind of cringy to open because it feels like it's going to break every time. And you get out the bubble gum. So unfortunately, it's not sealed. Had it been sealed, this is $75. But now it's $20. But anyway, it has a couple examples. This is what they look like. These are actually sealed. That's kind of cool. Notice they have messages on them because this is a beeper, like doctors would wear. See you later. I think our doctor is having an affair, maybe with a nurse. You know, there's a little side piece action, but very cool. Yeah, these originally were released only in black, and then in the second run they started releasing them in clear neon, and in the third release they were glow in the dark, and in the fourth release they changed the design of them all to get the sculpt of the beeper into a more rounded design, more modern design, because these started getting kind of outdated and they were opaque and bright colors. Next up is an 81. Let me set this down. I'm getting a little shaky there. 81 to 84-ish Fleer. I forget the date on these, to be honest. But these are haunted houses. This is cardboard. Now, these were released around the holidays. They had a Easter one called Bunny Hut. They had the Halloween haunted house. And they even had Santa houses for Christmas. But all it was basically a miniature milk carton filled with... They were generic bubblegum pieces. But yeah, this is the haunted house. This is the best one. The haunted house ones are the best ones. They actually have monsters on almost every side. So, and I forget how many's in the set. Probably 4. It's usually an even number. I'm going to grab these now that we're on that little holiday theme. Okay, this is... This is why I buy this shit, even though I need this to fuel my store and to, replenish stock, basically. Is I'm always, looking stuff for my own, for my archive. I did not have these. I've never seen this, stranded up into what I guess is maybe some sort of ornament or something. This wouldn't fit around any kid's neck that I know of. I do want to see if this is uniform because I don't know if this is a home job. Bro, this is totally a home job. In fact, now that I look at it, well, how did they thread it? I guess you'd thread it just like you'd thread anything. Stuck the needle through. Yeah, we're looking at just a home custom of... Anyway... So this is by Tom Foods, and this is powder candy. Let me set you down. So this was obviously a Halloween release. This is the witch. There's 3 different sculpts. I believe I might have misspoke. I'm sorry. There's a pumpkin. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, it had powder candy in it, and how they advertised these to kids was... You would eat the candy, maybe on Halloween night or whatever, and then there was instructions on the tag that's missing that you would poke a hole in the tip of this, and this would turn into a squirter. Okay? But some kid, instead of doing that, poked the hole and made it to an ornament of sorts, probably the mom. A lot of older folks, older collectors fondly remember these more so than... probably us, right? Okay, next up, I'm going to grab these are all Fleer, but they're 2 different types. The first one here is another one, first one here is one of those Chugga cans. Let's go ahead and get that old one out. I want to say this is first series. I think this is one of the beerish ones. I don't know. Don't quote me. But anyway, it's in that gold. Very nice. Got a tear there, but that can easily be glued. I would suggest when you're fixing something that's not high value, but yet you want something decent, just a white glue stick, because this is acid-free, non-toxic. It's very safe. It doesn't stain. It doesn't discolor. Just a white, but make sure it has those qualifications. Just a little, I'll do it right now. So you fold that back, just press it down. Watch this. Russ, you're a genius. Russ, we love you. Okay, very nice. Okay, even more cooler, let me put this up, are the 1987 spray can candies, yeah. These come in 3 types, red, white, silver. They come in 2 series. These are both first series, but there was actually a much more rare second series. These are also by the Fleer company. You could tell because they're almost the exact, they are the exact same sculpt, except they changed the lid sculpt. These were filled with the exact same thing as these. I'm 90% sure. When that was coming out of my mouth, I was waiting. Okay, this one's gum. Let me just check that real quick. Yeah, I have an educator background, so okay, see, I was wrong. I knew there was something off. This is gum. Okay, I've opened these. It was those, Gold Rush candy, those little nodules of candy-colored bubble gum. It had that kind of thing in there. And these were kind of a pellet-style candy. Okay. Next up is a classic. This is TV dinner candy by Fleer. I used to have the box for these, a full box, but I was having a rough little season. I had to sell it. But anyway, very cool. They had parodies of different foods that you could find in the store. I don't remember what this parody refers to exactly, but these are from 84 to 87. That's the run that I've researched and know of. Oh, these come in 3 types: silver, gold, white. And okay. And the next one is the Valentine's Day version of TV dinner, but it's called Valentine's cards or something. Now I'm spacing. These came in 3 types: hot pink, red, white. But anyway, these had parodies. I swear I remember these at school. I've seen a kid give one of these before back in the day in elementary school. Very good. These, I don't know what the deal is with the Valentines, but these are typically damaged. It's very odd. The TV dinners are almost always perfect when you see them, but kids were very rough with the Valentine's Day ones. I've seen them in all kinds of terrible conditions. Maybe they got them from a girl they didn't really like or whatever, but this one's in great shape. Actually, this is as mint as you could ever hope to ever see one loose like this. Okay, we've got 3 more things. Next up is another one of the, I'll set you down. Another one. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the title for these. These are called Sundae cones. Remember, these are the 1982 starts in 82. Notice the color difference in cones. Well, what you're seeing is run difference. This could actually be the 82 one. I know this is an 82. I think this is first release cone color Sundae cone. It's missing its vinyl label. It's missing a lot of things. But yeah, very cool. These came in... Oh, guys, is it 6? I think it's 6. 6 different color swap variants. This would be strawberry vanilla or cherry vanilla, and this is mint chocolate. And I think there's 4 more, pretty sure. If it's not 6, it's 8. There's a good many variants, but it's definitely an even number. Okay. Oh, this is cool. Remember the Tops boombox from '86 with the really cool pink Walgreens '86 price sticker? Well, Fleer, their rival, made this variant, and it's called Big Blast. And how this came after Tops. And what they did to step it up is they made it all plastic. They added a whistle function. So when you emptied this out, I can open this for you. Well, okay, let me back up. When you opened a Fleer Big Blast, it had candy here and it had stickers here. A lot of people don't know that these came with stickers. And the idea is that you could put stickers on your boombox. But anyway, the main little hidden feature is it became a whistle. But it had to be completely empty or mostly empty, right? Maybe it would sound cool if you left a few of the candy pellets in there. Makes it maybe sound like a rattle. I don't know. I could try it real quick. I've never done this before. Yeah, it sounds pretty lame. Actually, I had to focus my blow there, or whatever. Yeah, these are not dated. Actually, yeah, they are. I'm sorry. 84. Yeah, I'm going to have to eat my words. This came out before Boombox, didn't it? One story I've never told is there was intel that Fleer was getting about future Tops products. I've heard about this from some people I've met who had some insider information, pun intended, about some of the competition between Tops and Fleer, and how they would try to get things out ahead of the other, for example. So that's interesting. Okay, last thing is a classic, an 84 Willy Wonka. This is a bright one, ain't it? Nerds. Wonka rarely did anything in plastic. It was mostly boxes, but this was their one main 80s plastic novelty candy, and it's their classic Nerds character. These came in maybe, I think it's is it 3 waves? This isn't the first wave. Well, I'll tell you one thing. They came in a 2-pack for Christmas. So that was one. And there's some that are in neon and some that aren't. And I'm pretty sure that was 2 different waves. So whatever it is. And these were out for a long time. So I'm sure they did switch it up. But I'm pretty sure this would be the second release that was in more neon colors. Pretty. These clean up very well, even though it looks dirty. Easy clean thing to clean up. It's just a bunch of plastic, So quick review. This has been mainly actually kind of a sweeter mid-80s lot as opposed to late 80s. A lot of Fleer classics. If you wanted to know, I'll just end with this. So as a seller, the real treasure here, where the value here are the 85 pop-up push pops. The Fleer Bubble Beeper and clear green. Even though these are kind of damaged and empty, this 84 Haunted House. This one in particular, TV Dinner. These, everyone loves those. Lipstick. These are easy sells too, even though they've been custom. And the rest is pretty much a bunch of chafe. I mean, sometimes these are hot, sometimes they're not. I mean, I think the Gremlins are pretty good too, especially Gizmo. So yeah, just a little thing. But guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Just a fun look back at some things maybe you remember from childhood. I certainly remember most of these. I think what's the most nostalgic thing in this entire lot for me is definitely the Push Pops. My ice cream truck man had these. Plus, they were just in Kmart's and stuff. But my interaction with Push Pops were pretty memorable. So, all right. I have a weird thing about E.T. too. So I'd call that, on the nostalgic scale, I'd put him in there. Probably the Nerds, actually, too. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you in the next one. It's been quite a week with all that amazing Japanese stuff. Actually, yeah, let me close with this. So the past couple live streams, I keep getting stuck on this item. So let me explain this real quick, and I'll let you go. This doesn't belong here. They don't make novelty candy like this anymore. They wouldn't ever think to make something like this anymore. So I was looking at this because it was bugging the fuck out of me. And I noticed it has 1990 on it. And I was looking at it, and it has the old Orion logo, which is a star with the animation beams or whatever. I think what this is, and why it's so perfect and so, well, I tell you what, I think this is a flashback. So I think what they did is they re-released an old candy container, because they don't make stuff like this. They wouldn't even think of it. They wouldn't use these colors either. And if you look at it, there's something very vintage about it, and that's what it was. And all this is die cut. I didn't show that. This thing, they don't put this much work into candy anymore. Yeah, and it's got all this. I'm sorry, I know I keep going on and on about this thing. This thing is probably the best thing I've seen in a year, at least over a year, way over a year. And I think the thing is because it doesn't belong. I think this is a flashback 1990 reboot. So cool. Now, I could be completely wrong. Maybe that 1990 on the front doesn't mean anything. But I'm telling you, it doesn't belong. It just doesn't belong. It's too good. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed some of this. I love this world, man. This is where I'd like to live, to be honest, in this place. There's a lot of peace here and a lot of memories. Well, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good weekend, too. Russ fan.